Hi everyone, and welcome to the webinar on the B.E.S.T standards. In this webinar, we'll explore how leaders can help the schools become the best. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ortal Green. I'm the co-founder of Glittering Minds. Glittering Minds helps principals bring their schools to the forefront of education. We do so by adopting a new way of teaching and learning at school that helps improve academic outcomes. I'm also an author. I wrote Think Unique, the book that empowers teachers to create tomorrow's innovators in the classroom through project-based learning. In today's webinar, we are going to explore 4 things. Number 1 is what is B.E.S.T and why it's such great news. Number 2, what it means for ELA, Math, STEM, and Inquiry Unit. Number 3, what is a significant shift? And number 4, how can we help our teachers and students with this transformation? So let's dive right in. As you probably know, B.E.S.T stands for Benchmarks for Excellent Student Thinking, where the emphasis is on thinking. The big shift here is the focus on students' thinking. B.E.S.T main goal is to help our students develop their thinking capabilities. We need to help our students develop the way of thinking. It's about how to think creatively, how to think critically, how to think deeply, and how to justify their thinking. The shift in teaching our students how to think, in focusing on developing students' thinking capabilities, is exactly what they need to thrive today and in the future. As you are very well aware, our world is changing in a very rapid pace. Therefore, we need to change too, and we need to change how we think about education and what children today need to thrive and succeed. It's quite astonishing to realize that 65% of children entering primary schools today would work in job types that haven't been created yet. This is as per the World Economic Forum report. So in a world with so much uncertainty and unknowns, B.E.S.T is excellent news. B.E.S.T is actually going to prepare children to succeed in the 21st century. Bringing Florida schools to the forefront of education by creating deep, rich, meaningful, and authentic learning experience is exactly what children today need. So what does B.E.S.T mean for ELA? It means that knowledge acquisition should be the primary purpose of any reading approach. We cannot think deeply, creatively, or critically about a subject if we have little knowledge of it. Therefore, the key to develop real critical thinking skills in our student is to increase knowledge about a breadth of subjects by reading rich text on the topics. It means we need to provide our students with a wider range of text. We need to enable them to have broader views on different topics and add complexity to their reading materials. We need to provide them with thought-provoking text. We need to enable deeper classroom discussions. We need to have more time on analysis, citing evidence to explain and justify your reasoning, and to have more time for verbal and written persuasion. Our students need to develop a deeper level of understanding and develop their listening and communication skills. For math, B.E.S.T again is all about developing our student thinking capabilities. It's about being able to look at a mathematical problem from different angles, exploring different solutions, and being able to justify and explain your reasoning. It's about thinking more deeply on mathematical problems and being able to discuss and debate different solutions. What it means in the classroom setting is that we need to spend more time on data and analysis. We need to help our students find patterns, to understand and connect different concepts, and to justify their reasoning. We need to help them develop deeper level of understanding, and this is done by having or facilitating deeper discussion within the classroom, where the students will also develop their listening and communication skills. One more thing is about the application of their math knowledge. So our students need to learn how to apply their math knowledge to solve real-world problems. This brings me to STEM and what it means to apply the best standards and approach to STEM. As you're very well aware, it's very important for our students to develop their STEM knowledge, to acquire knowledge in science, technology, engineering, and math. But we're doing so not just for them to have more knowledge on these topics. We're doing so to allow them to apply their knowledge in STEM to solve real-world problems. This is what we want to achieve here. It's about helping our students become great problem-solving and knowing how to use their STEM knowledge to solve these problems. The same concept applies when it comes to inquiry units and PBL. Applying the best standards and approach to inquiry units and PBL means helping our students to develop their creative and innovative thinking, to develop their problem-solving and critical thinking skills. It's all about developing their way of thinking, helping them think more deeply, meaningfully about different problems so they can find innovative solutions to this problem. It's about empowering our students to drive change within their communities through PBL and inquiry units. So to summarize that, to become the best school, your teachers need to help your students develop their critical thinking, creative thinking, analytical capabilities, collaboration skills, communication skills, problem-solving capabilities, and a growth mindset. We usually refer to these skills as 21st century skills. This is what children that growing up today need to learn and develop in order to thrive today and in the future with all the uncertainties and unknowns of our future. So now that you know what BEST means and what it means to your school, then how can you as a leader create the best school? So there are 4 concepts that we're going to go through in order to see what you need to do and what you need to drive as a leader at your schools to become the best school. The first concept is that improvement is impossible without change. I know you might be thinking, well, of course, that's obvious. We all know that. But in practical, it's actually not that easy for people to change the way they do things. Albert Einstein worded it perfectly when he said, it's kind of crazy to think you could do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So what we need to do here, we need to, if we want to get different results, if we want to improve our schools, we need to do things differently. We need to change. We need to think differently and operate differently in order to see the improvement that we want to have and drive at our schools. Concept number 2 is another important concept to understand, and I'm actually sure that it's not going to come as a surprise to you to realize that traditional professional developments don't provide a meaningful change. Many research have been performed on this topic and many papers have been written about why traditional professional development don't provide a meaningful change. These papers highlight the 4 main reasons for that. The first one is that traditional PD treats teachers as passive learners. And we all know that when we are passive learners, when anyone is a passive learner, they don't learn much. The reason number 2 is that traditional PDs are too broad and don't go deep. So they try to cover as much as possible, but then it's so shallow, it's so on the surface that the teachers actually don't learn something meaningful. Reason number 3 is that traditional PDs don't provide ongoing support. So they provide some theoretical teaching, but when the time comes for the teachers to implement their learning within their classroom, which is the most crucial part, this is where the teachers actually don't have the support they need to implement the new learning in a meaningful way in the classroom. And reason number 4 as to why traditional PDs don't provide a meaningful change is that they don't provide reflection times for your teachers. So your teachers don't have the time to think about the teaching style and what it means to the teaching style, the new learning that they're going through, what it means in terms of what they need to change, what they might still need to keep doing, or what they need to modify. So teachers are not given the time to really reflect on their practice and fully understand what it means for their day-to-day practice. And moving on to concept number 3, which is a sustainable change in your school requires a whole school transformation. What I mean here is that it's not enough to have 2 enthusiastic teachers, no matter how energetic, excited they are, in order to drive a change at your school. You need to take your whole teachers along the same journey. Everyone needs to be on the same page. In order to consistently achieve academic excellence across all year levels, all your teachers need to go through the same journey. All of them need to go through the same transformation. And the last concept, concept number 4, is about achieving academic excellence is made possible by breaking free from this is the way things are done around here and adopting a new way of thinking. It's very important to understand and realize that in order to improve things at your school, in order to drive academic excellence at your school, you need to challenge the status quo. You need to break free from how things have been done for many, many years. And if you consider yourself an innovative principal, then you know that the key to innovation is by challenging the status quo. And this is something that we all need to adopt and apply. So challenge and question the way we do things at the moment and be brave enough and dare to do things differently. Thinking about all the things we discussed and went through during this webinar, it is clear to see that there is one thing that you need to do in order to help your school become the best school. So becoming a best school requires one essential thing. It requires a change to the way of teaching at your school. The successful transformation from the current way of learning to best education requires a shift in your teachers' thinking. You're probably wondering, okay, but how am I going to do it? How am I going to help my teachers shift their thinking, transform their way of thinking, and help them adopt a new way of teaching and learning at my school? Well, I'm glad you asked because you can provide your teachers with an innovative and transformational program. You can provide them with a unique, differentiated, deep, and meaningful professional development program that will transform their thinking and will help your school adopt a new way of teaching and learning and bring your school to the forefront of education. So this transformation can be achieved by adopting design thinking as the new way of teaching and learning. If you're not familiar with design thinking, then at a high level, design thinking is a combination of mindset, approach, tools, and methodology that enable you to come up with innovative solutions to real-world problems. This is a very powerful way to solve problems, and it is used by many innovative companies such as M3, Tesla, Netflix, Airbnb, and so many more. And now you can bring this powerful way of thinking, this powerful way to solve problems and come up with creative and innovative solutions to your school, to your teachers, and to your students. Adopting design thinking will enable your school to cultivate a community of growth mindset learners, develop a safe environment to experiment and fail, which we all know is very important for students to have that safe environment to bring their whole selves to express their thinking and bring their ideas to the classroom. to create an innovative learning environment, to foster perseverance in students by choosing tasks that are challenging for them, and we all know how important it is to develop perseverance and resilience. This will also help your school to cultivate curiosity and lifelong learning, curious and lifelong learners. It will help your school to create great thinkers, communicators, and researchers for a bolder and brighter future. And it will empower your teachers to create an environment where students thrive. PBL and Beyond is a program that helps schools adopt design thinking as the new way of teaching and learning. It's one program that provides a whole school transformation. It's been running successfully at schools and provide a deep and meaningful transformation to schools, to teachers and students alike. Here you can see what James Whitler, a principal of Edithville Primary, has to say about the program's impact on his students and his teachers. In terms of his students, he says that this program gives the student permission to fail and trial and fail and trial. He also says that the big difference, one of the big impact this program brings is that rather than thinking they know the answer, they have the answer. By learning PBL and Beyond, the students actually know they have the answer, and the difference between thinking and knowing is huge. In terms of the impact on his teachers, James is talking about a much better mindset for his teachers. He says that PBL and Beyond gives his teachers permission to challenge the kids more and dig deeper, and it enables them to create the safe environment required for the students in order to do so. And the teachers are happy to challenge the student to think again, not to settle on the first answer, the first solution that comes to mind, but to look at problems from different angles and try and think about different solutions and different approaches. And this change in the teacher's mindset, it rolls through to any aspect of the teaching, from English to math to STEM to inquiry unit to even how they handle student behavior issues. So the impact of PBL is deep and broad on students and teachers alike. Here you can see what Grace, a Year 4 teacher, has to say about PBL and Beyond and what it means to adopt design thinking as a teacher. She says, it really opened my mind about exploring different types of teaching. It allows me to be able to allow the kids to have more say in what they would like to do with their learning. It allows me to be more flexible with the way that I run classroom activities. This program really emphasizes thinking on your own, student voice, and agency. And this is what Hayden, a PBL leader, has to say about what it means to undergo PBL and Beyond program and to adopt design thinking as the new way of teaching and learning. He says, the biggest surprise for me is that it not only shifted the kids' thinking, it shifted my thinking as well in the way that I look to design project-based inquiry experiences in the future. I'm really excited by the change that happened in such a small space of time with our students. So the change is not only deep and meaningful, but it also happens quite quickly. So shortly after starting the PBL and Beyond journey, you can see the shift in the teacher's thinking and also in the student thinking. You can find more information on PBL and Beyond Transformational Program and on how your school can become the best in the link in this slide. I hope you found this webinar useful and that you learn a lot about the B.E.S.T standards and how you can turn your school into the best school it can be. I encourage you to get in touch if you have any question or want to have another discussion. I'm always here to help you. This is my email address, and you can also get in touch with me via LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever medium is easier for you. Thank you and bye.